In this section of the video, we'll explore the different features and capabilities of the Lorebook plugin. We already placed several events on the map. Each event corresponds with a different set of features. Let's trigger the first event. It demonstrates the basic functionality. The Lorebook is available, entries are displayed, and the interface is fully interactive. Let's switch back to RPG Maker and see what's under the hood. We're using the plugin command open Lorebook to render the plugin UI. At the second event, the description changes automatically as the story progresses. This shows how entries can have multiple text variants that update based on game events. In this scenario, we're using the Change Lore Entry Text Index plugin command to switch between variants. Now, let's look at how conditions can control what the player sees. When we reach this event, the entry only becomes visible because a specific requirement has been met. Maybe a switch is on, a variable reached a value, or the player has a certain item. This is how the plugin lets us control access to lore in a very flexible way. Here's an entry that needs more than one thing to happen before it shows up. It only unlocks when all the required conditions are met. This demonstrates how you can create more complex logic, combining multiple checks to make the lore reveal feel tied to the story. Next, let's see how we can change the way a lore entry looks without touching the text. We'll swap out the illustration and the cover image. The entry itself stays the same, but this shows how you can make entries evolve visually as the story or the player's progress changes. Here you can see the plugin commands that let you change the illustration and cover images of any lore entry. Finally, let's explore what happens when we hide a lore entry. This event removes it from the book completely, so it no longer appears for the player. It's a great way to maintain control over the lore and keep the interface clean at runtime. Here we're using the plugin command setEntryHiddenState to hide a lore entry from the book. In the next section of the video, we'll cover how to initialize the plugin and set up the NUI. In this video, we'll learn how to use the simple Lorebook plugin. To get started, we need to add the plugin to the project folder and activate it using the plugin manager. In our setup, the plugin file is already placed in the js/plugins folder. Now let's switch to RPG Maker and open the plugin manager. Click on the plugin list and select Simple Lorebook. On the right side, you will see the plugin parameters appear. Let's go through them one by one. The most important and core parameter is the lore database. This is where all lore records are managed. Let's click on it. Each record is made up of several configurable fields. Here you can set the title shown in the list, assign an optional audio file, and define conditional logic that controls when this record becomes available to the player. You can also see the full text-based structure of the record, which shows how all these elements are organized and connected. The next parameter is the sound effect used by the plugin. Click on the sound effect field and simply choose the desired sound from the list. You can also configure the audio play delay, sorting by unlock order, and input or display mode. Text formatting settings can also be adjusted directly from this menu. Here you can customize the font size, text color, and outline color to better match your game's visual style and readability. Finally, you can choose whether the Lorebook appears in the main menu and set its in-game name. Now the plugin is added and fully initialized. Next, we'll move on to configuring the NUI. Now that the plugin is configured, we can prepare the visual assets. This includes setting up the NUI layout, adjusting how the interface will look, and making sure all graphic assets are placed correctly. NUI files define how each part of the interface is rendered. They are regular JSON files stored in the data directory of the project inside a folder with the plugin name. You can open them in any text editor. Most plugins include several NUI files, with each one responsible for a specific part of the interface. Now let's see how this works in practice. We will use the prepared layout files and adjust the settings slightly. We'll change the size of the icons used in the Lorebook so we can immediately see how the interface reacts. Let's modify the width and height parameters to see how the layout responds to these changes. This small change allows us to observe how layout parameters influence the visual structure once the Lorebook appears in the game. The NUI setup is complete. And that's it. The plugin is fully set up, all features are ready,